Welcome back, especially for the BS students and for the literature students from all around the world, and especially from Pakistan and overseas Pakistanis and all the dignitaries. Today, the topic is we are going to start the synopsis of Othello, and before going, I want to use person and places in Othello also in this particular lecture. And before starting, I would like to announce two important announcements that we have separated the Urdu channel by the name of Mentor Urdu, Murshid Urdu, Professor Muhammad Raza, and use also Classical Islamic Sciences channel is also separated by the name of Jame Darul Shaykhul Islam. And I have completed the more than 6 lecture on particularly Othello, and this is my 7th or maybe 8th lecture. And today I'm gonna share person and places along with the synopsis of Othello. If you have book of KM, then it would be from page number 36. Chapter number 8. Person and places in Othello. Othello. The first one, hero, a Moorish nobleman who is a convert to Christianity. He serves the state of Venice as a general and is later appointed governor of Cyprus, which he defends against the invasion of the Turkish fleet. Number 2, Desdemona, a beautiful Venetian lady who marries Othello in secret. She is the daughter of Brabantio or Brabantio. The important word is Brabantio. Brabantio, a Venetian senator, she is killed by her husband on the false suspicion of adultery. Brabantio. Number 3, Desdemona's father, who is violently opposed to her marriage with Othello and appeals against it in vain to the Venetian Senate. Character number 4, Iago. Iago, a Venetian who serves under Othello as his ensign or initiate. He incites Othello's against Desdemona and Cassio. Number 5, Cassio, the 5th character, or at number 5, a Florentine whom Othello appoints his lieutenant or lieutenant in preference to Iago, who seems to have been expecting this post. Rodrigo, 6th character, an unsuccessful suitor of Desdemona who is duped, exploited, and later killed by Iago. Amelia, character number 7th, Iago's wife, who served Desdemona as her waiting woman. She is responsible for revealing the wicked plot of her husband. 8th, Bianca, Cassio's mistress, who unconsciously plays a part in a scene arranged by Iago to mislead Othello. Number 9, Gratiano, brother of Brabantio, Desdemona's father. Othello addresses him as uncle. Number 10, Lodovico or Lodoviso. I have also listened by my teachers at Lodoviso, but Lodovico is internationally acknowledged pronunciation. Brabantio's kinsman who is sent to Cyprus by the Duke of Venice with a message for Othello. 11th, Montino, a trusted servant of the Duke of Venice, who was Othello's predecessor as the governor of Cyprus. 12th, the Duke, unnamed ruler of Venice. 13, Clown, unnamed comic character who is a servant of Othello. 14, Barbara, Desdemona's mother, maid whose dying song she sings before her own death. 15, Angelio or Senior Angelio. Someone silent the G and some use the senior or senior. One of the sailors states before the Duke that Senior Angelio has sent him to report the movement of the Turkish fleet towards Rhodes. There is no other mention of him in the play. 16, Marcus Lucis, another enigmatic name in Othello. The Duke wants to know whether this gentleman is not here in town and is informed that he is now in Florence. The Duke wants him to the summoned urgently, but he is never mentioned again. Now the important places, and then we will turn to the synopsis, inshallah. Venice, famous Roman state and scene of the early part of the play. Point number 2, Cyprus, a Mediterranean island under Venetian rule, setting of the most crucial action of the play. 3, Mauritanians, or according to Iago, after being relieved of the governorship of Cyprus, Othello is to be sent to this country. 4, Aleppo, the city in which Othello says he killed a malignant Turk who was traducing the Venetian state. 5th, Sagittary or Sagitter, a place to which Iago wants the search to the directed. It has been explained as the name of some official building, but is more likely to have been the name of some inn or private house. 6, Rhodes, an island and ancient city-states of the Aegean, one of the places where Iago claims to have shown his skill as a warrior is being adopted in the correct. Chapter number 9, a synopsis of the Othello, Act 1. Iago, resentment. Othello is a Moorish nobleman and adventurer in the service of the Venetian state as a general against the Turks. Iago is a young Venetian occupying the position of Othello's ensign or ancient. Othello has the misfortune of arousing Iago's animosity by choosing another man, Cassio, as his lieutenant, since this make Iago feel that his better claims have been ignored. Othello's wife Desdemona is the daughter of a Venetian nobleman who has married him against the wishes of her family in order to avenge himself on Othello, and even more just driven by the evil within him. Iago decided to cause the downfall of the Othello and Cassio. However, he gives no impression to the colonel that he harbors any resentment or hospitality against him. Othello himself is too noble to suspect that Iago is playing upon the simple nobility. Othello and Desdemona. Othello was for a long time the guest of a Venetian senator named Bribengio. While he stated there, the host, her youthful daughter Desdemona, would eagerly listen to the guest's stories of great adventures until she came to fall in love with him. Othello and Desdemona married in secret. The first step in Iago's plot was to awaken the senator during the night and report his daughter's elopement. Iago safeguarded himself from suspicion by shifting the blame to a rejected suitor of Desdemona named Rodrigo. The, the angered Bribengio appealed to the Duke of Venice against Othello, whom he accused of winning his daughter by black magic. However, he came black magic related to Othello. However, whom he accused of winning his daughter by black magic. However, he came to know that just then the Venetian Senate was about to send Othello to Cyprus to protect the island against the threatened invasions of a Turkish fleet. Desdemona steadfastly refused to give up her husband and return to her father. Not only that, she asked the Duke's permission to accompany her husband to Cyprus. The unsuspecting Othello appointed the honest Iago to bring Desdemona after him. Iago persuaded the foolish Rodrigo to accompany him, giving him hope that he could still with Desdemona. All the time, Iago racked his brains to find a way of displacing Cassio and harming Othello. It was Desdemona's father who was responsible for planting in Othello's mind the seed of jealousy, which is later turned into poison tree by Iago, with his remark that Desdemona, who has deceived her father, may deceive him also. Act 2. Iago's plot. A terrible storm comes up near the coast of Cyprus. It has the effect of delaying the arrival of the forces from Venice, but it is also responsible for crippling the Turkish fleet and thus enabling the new governor of the island, Othello, to have no difficulty in driving them off. After this, Othello orders general rejoicing on the island. He appointed his lieutenant Cassius as officer of the guard to see that the merrymaking remains within the bounds. By pure chance, the innocent Cassio happens to meet Desdemona and greets her. And Iago, who witnessed this meetup, hits upon the ideas of making Othello, believes that Desdemona has adulterous relation with Cassio. Iago causes Cassio to get drunk and instigate Rodrigo to pick a quarrel with him. Then the rouses Othello, who, observing the disgraceful situation of Cassio, at once decides to demote him. Cassio is greatly ashamed by the demotion, and Iago is easily able to persuade him that he can help his cause by asking for Desdemona's intercession on his behalf. No one else except Iago knows that this is a deliberate trap for Cassio, Desdemona, and Othello. Act 3. Suspicious activity against Desdemona. It is quite natural that Cassio should desire his meeting with Desdemona to remain a secret from Othello. Iago decided to put this to use and reports to Othello that Cassio is going away guiltily. On seeing Othello, when he had been taking to Desdemona, he also poisons Othello with the notion that Desdemona is going to plead Cassio's case with him because of her guilty love for the young man. That latent jealousy in other awakens with fully fury or furry, and he asked Iago to supply proofs of what he has insinuated, especially because Desdemona does plead Cassio's case. Iago is able to obtain one such proof by chance. It is handkerchief which Othello has presented to his wife during the Desdemona's does plead Cassio case. Iago is able to obtain one such proof by chance. It is handkerchief which Othello has presented to his wife during the time he was courting her. Desdemona has chanced to lose this handkerchief, and it has been founded by Desdemona's waiting woman Emilia. Iago conveys this secretly to Cassio's room, where the former officer finds it and gives it to his mistress Bianica to make a copy of it. In the meanwhile, Iago tells Othello that he has seen Desdemona's handkerchief in Cassio's hand. Othello demands from Desdemona to produce the handkerchief, which she is unable to do. This is enough to convince Othello of his wife's guilt, and he makes a pledge to visit dire vengeance on both Desdemona and Cassio. Act 4. Further evidence. Iago think that he should make Othello's suspicion of his wife's illicit relationship or relations with Cassio more firm by supplying further evidence with his purpose. He conceals Othello at a place from where he can overhear Cassio. Cassio is in reality deriding Bianica, but his words seems to allude to Desdemona, and Othello can see Cassio's mistress scornfully returned Desdemona's handkerchief to him. Othello is now absolutely convinced of Desdemona's guilt. Iago able to make him decide to kill Desdemona and give Iago the task of killing Cassio. There is a development which makes Iago more eager to bring his plot to a quiet conclusion. It is that Ludovico, a kinsman of Desdemona, arrives with a letter from the Duke of Venice recalling Othello to Venice and appointing Cassio as his successor in Cyprus. Othello is further angered by the conversation between his wife and her kinsman, which he is able to hear. Desdemona says in all innocence that she would do all she can to reconcile her husband and the newly appointed governor. Cassio, for the sake of the love, regard, goodwill she bears Cassio, Othello misunderstands her words and strikes her. He also orders her out of his sight. Emilia comes forward to testify that Desdemona is chaste, but Othello not only refuses to believe her but calls for a whore. Iago now decides to cap his villainy by persuading the foolish Rodrigo to ambush to ambush and kill Cassio. In the meanwhile, Desdemona signs a pathetic lyric which is to prove her last, and which is about a willow. Even though she is wronged, Desdemona still does not blame her husband and confines this to Amelia. She wonders whether there really are women who wrong their husbands by cuckolding them, and Amelia assures her there are. However, Amelia asserts that if women fall, it is the fault of their husbands who slacks their duties. Desdemona's murder, Rodrigo ambushed Cassio as instructed, but the confrontation does not go according to plan. Rodrigo only succeeds in wounding Cassio, who is able to defend himself and stab the assailant. Iago takes a hand in the fight and wound Cassio in the leg. Cassio cries for help. Bring Ludovico and others to the scene. Others to the scene, or sense it now become necessary for Iago to silence Rodrigo so that he might not blurt out Iago's role in the affair. Iago therefore at once stabs Rodrigo as though in anger on behalf of injured Cassio. Moreover, he is also to cast suspicion upon Bianca, with whom Cassio suppered that night for the attack. In the meanwhile, Othello refuses to believe Desdemona's protestations that she is completely innocent, and smothers her to death in her bed. Just then Amelia enters to report that Rodrigo is dead and Cassio only wounded in a fight between the two of them. Othello confesses to her that he has killed Desdemona, but Desdemona revives for a moment, just long enough to say that her husband is not responsible for her death. Amelia raises a cry which brings Ludovico, Iago, and others to the scene. Othello justifies the wicked deed he has done by referring to the fact that he has seen Desdemona's handkerchief in Cassio's possession. Othello's remorse. Amelia, who still does not know her husband's part in the plot, reveals the truth about the handkerchief, and Iago kills her in order to prevent her from making any further disclosures. Letters are found in the pockets of the slain Rodrigo, which furthermore confirmed Iago's guilt. Othello strikes at Iago, but the blow only wound the villain. Othello then begs the onlookers to report him to the Venetian Senate as a man who loved unwisely but too well. Othello then stabs himself and dies after kissing the lips of his innocent dead wife. It is Cassio's duty now as the governor of the island to torture Iago, to extract a confession from him. Iago, however, refuses to say anything and is led to his execution. So today we have discussed the synopsis, and after that in the next lecture I will definitely give you scene-wise summary of Othello, and we will discuss it in detail. So today we have discussed particularly the person and places and the synopsis of Othello. So before going, I would like to request you that all the Urdu summary of Othello will be available on Mentor Urdu, Murshid Urdu, Professor Ahmad Raza, and the other things which are particularly in Urdu, all available on Mentor Urdu, Murshid Urdu, Professor Ahmad Raza. Today it was the lecture, and before going I would like to request you that must subscribe Mentor Urdu, also subscribe Jamia Darul Shaykhul Islam, and Mentor English too. So let me go now and say with me, do something more for humanity, do something more for knowledge and practices. Have a good day.